I want to introduce online discussions by clarifying some terms. I created this Prezi presentation because I found myself using terms such as discussion board, forum, thread, and posts, sometimes interchangeably. Do I want students to post to a board, or do I want them to post to a forum? How should I describe the post? As a thread, a reply, a forum question? In my own mind, I needed some clarity. So I visualized a discussion outside of Blackboard and related the specific terms Blackboard gives to each of these elements visually to clarify their relationships. So that my directions in this section about discussions are clear to you, and so that you can make your directions clear to your students, I created this Prezi. Let's take a look. We start first by describing the discussion board. I've labeled this class discussion board because, by default, each class has its one, that's right, just one discussion board. Now, most instructors I see will only use this one board, the class discussion board, for all of their discussion activities. So, why might we need to create additional discussion boards? Say you want to create a group activity, and you need to have group members discussing issues between themselves. Furthermore, you want to give the group members more control. You will want to have one discussion board for each of several groups. Now we're going to show you how, and more importantly, why you would create individual discussion boards for each group, particularly as it relates to grading. We'll talk about that a little later in this section. For now, let's make this simple. I'm only going to show you the items within a class discussion board. Within the class discussion board, the instructor will create forums. A forum is an area where participants discuss a topic or a group of related topics. And with the class discussion board, only the instructor can create the forums. Now, what is the nature of these forums, these topics? Well, there's different ways of organizing them, and I'm going to give you a few examples here, each designed for a different purpose. First, here's a weekly online discussion. Forums like this one begin with an initial post to a thread. A post is any published message on a forum. Each new discussion started is called a thread. A thread describes the entirety of the online conversation. In this forum type, it is the instructor who starts the conversation with the first threaded post, not the student. The idea of the discussion design is to maintain a focused thread, to stay on topic, to address the instructor's inquiry. However, like five friends talking about politics at a coffee shop cafe, the topical conversation will rarely stay on topic. While this can be engaging, it might also work against your learning objective. So here's an idea exemplified in the second example, a parking lot forum. Whereas in the first forum, by design, only the instructor can post, in this forum, the parking lot forum, or whatever you want to call it, it's explicitly created for side conversations. Students can start a new thread post. In other words, start a separate conversation. This area is designed for side conversations. That way, as the moderator, you can direct students if you see they're getting off track. If you desire divergent conversations, this may seem unnecessary, but regardless, you should plan to have a focused or divergent purpose behind your discussion ahead of time. And this is just one way to make your discussion design match your lesson objective. We'll explore various discussion types and design suggestions later in this section. Finally, the third forum illustrates an area where the instructor can create a divergent thread, but with related questions. Threads in this area can be created by anyone, instructor or the student, and everyone is encouraged to answer the question when they are able to. Having a forum for frequently asked questions, whether it's about an exam or about the course in general, is a great way of building community. Now that you know the language of a discussion, let's look at the mechanics of setting up a discussion in Blackboard, followed with some suggestions, best practices for keeping the conversation going.